Today, guys, I want to talk about the top 10 best tanks in Dragonheir Silent Gods across all of the 3 seasons. So like this, you will know when a specific banner pops, if it's worth it for you guys to try and summon for these specific tanks. Because we have a lot of amazing tanks in the game, and I'm gonna help you pinpoint the top 10 best. Now, this video is brought to you by Dragonheir Silent Gods, so I just want to say a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. If you guys are new around here, new on the channel, if you haven't tried Dragonheir Silent Gods just yet, you can click on the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment, or scan the QR code you see on the screen to download the game and come and join me in Dragonheir. So how I mentioned, guys, this will be done across all of the 3 seasons. I will include all of the rarities in this top 10. It doesn't matter even if they would be common or uncommon or rare, which, by the way, we don't have any in the top 10, but if they would be good enough, I would definitely put them in here. So a lot of amazing tanks in the game, and it can be pretty overwhelming not knowing which one of them is the best, which one of them to pick for your team, or if you want to summon for one, which one to pick from the actual banners, right? Because every single season we have a list with all of the banners, so we know kind of like how to prepare, to plan ahead. So I'm going to start with the very first tank, and that will be from the poison element. While I do think that Chrysos is a solid tank, he won't be making our top 10. And keep in mind, I'm talking about tanks, not support heroes, guys, okay? Very important. So I'm going to start with the one that's been eluding me since the beta, and he used to be my most wanted back in the day when I started playing Dragonheir, but no more. I do like him, but I don't necessarily want to go crazy to summon him, so I'm not going to pull on specific banners. But Ergander, guys, he's a very, very amazing tank. He has a defense aura for Gladiator Arena. He has the passive, which has a chance to put attack penalty on whoever attacks him. The battle skill will basically deal AoE damage and reduce the ultimate energy by 25%. This is solid for PvP, guys, and for PvE on bosses. Being able to manipulate the ultimate energy is very nice. Feymander, Pillar of Trials, etc. is going to be very, very helpful. Then the ultimate will basically taunt the enemies and will put immortality on himself. And this is an AoE attack. It's very nice. Having crowd control debuffs is massive for areas like Feymander, Pillar of Trials, guys. You guys know the drill, how important it is to have something like that in there. And I do think that there are quite a few decent artifacts for this tank, though. You kind of want to get something that will help him with survivability, right? He's not really going to give you any healing or anything like that, but he will put decreased attack. You can consider in even giving him, for example, the Rift Hourglass. Even though he's not going to give him defense, he will get all the extra skill haste to get his ultimate up and running, his battle skill up and running. And if he can move before the enemy, it's kind of like a GG, especially with the taunt on the ultimate skill. The next one is still going to be a tank from the poison element, guys, and that is Malak. So this was a hero that was added in season 2. He's actually a pretty badass one, very good for PvP, very good for Pillar of Trials or Feymander. So he has a defense aura for Gladiator Arena only. I kind of like dislike having these auras, even though they are very big auras, 45%. I prefer auras that are for all battles to actually help you everywhere where you're using the characters, you know. The passive, when inflicted with control or ultimate down, the hero gains healing and 15% ultimate energy. Also, if the hero fails to resist control or ultimate down effects, there's an extra 40% chance to nullify those effects. So, it's a pretty decent passive. He's definitely the anti-Ergander tank, basically, because he will do the opposite, you know. He will dispel all of the control debuffs on all of your team with the ultimate skill, which is very nice, and deal AoE damage, put attack penalty on the enemies. So very, very nice. With the battle skill, he's going to deal damage and heal. So overall, is a pretty solid one. Now the Scarab amulet is a pretty good artifact to keep him alive. You know, you have the Durango Blast Jar, which again is going to be very nice on him and on Ergander, to be honest. There are quite a few solid options in terms of artifacts that can benefit them, you know. So definitely keep that in mind. This one looks so badass. Like, I really love the design on Malak, you know. Very strong in PvE and PvP. They are not the best tanks for the Vortex, though, guys. So we do have different options for that, but I'm gonna get to them in a second, right? And moving over to the next tank, this one was added in Season 3. So it's a pretty badass one, and I am talking about, where is he? Fathom Down. So it's a pretty awesome tank. He has an attack aura for dungeons, 45%. The passive, the hero has a 50% chance of reducing the damage taken by 50% when taking damage, and heals themselves. The effect can only trigger every 3 seconds. Then you have the battle skill, gains debuff immunity, will basically knock up and stun the enemies on an AoE area, which is very good. And the ultimate, this is very different than the regular attack down characters that we have in the game, guys, because he will cover the entire map with this ultimate skill, and he will cast the spell for 8 seconds, summons lightning bolts to strike random enemies every 1 second, in the meantime dealing lightning damage to the target and all enemies nearby, with a chance of inflicting attack penalty 2 on them for 5 seconds, reducing their ultimate energy by 5%. Now keep in mind, if you are going versus a single boss, you will do this for 8 seconds, and every time you put a decrease attack, it will last for 5 seconds. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's actually even better in a way or another, because you're getting a couple of additional seconds on the decrease attack. But he will reduce the ultimate energy by 5% as well, which honestly is very solid. Moving over to the next tank, guys, that is going to be Acelia. Now, I'm missing her on my account, unfortunately, but she is an amazing tank. Very powerful for PvP, for PvE, chief challenges, world bosses, Feymander, Pillar of Trials, like you guys name it, okay? You guys name it. Radiance has some of the best tanks in the game, hands down, and you cannot change that unless they're bringing some more OP tanks for the other elemental affinities, but we have a resistance aura for Arena. With a passive, for each debuff dispelled or resisted, gains a stack of Oathkeeper's Glory, up to 10 stacks, which will increase the healing by 3%. Then the battle skill heals allies within range, now only allies that are in close proximity to her. And the ultimate, the entire area, cleanses all of the debuffs on all of your allies, which makes her so strong for the Grave of Wrath, for example. She was so strong for the current world boss that we had in Season 3, and grants debuff immunity to all of the team, and casts a spell to heal all allies every 0.5 seconds for 5 seconds, which can be quite a bit of healing out of this character, you know. Now, her healing is based on target HP and enlightenment, so having an artifact that will increase the healing and will give you enlightenment as well, it is going to be really good for her. If you are planning to use her in PvP, in Arena, you will need something to help her to stay alive, basically, you know. So Acelia definitely on my most wanted list, together with this cheeky Mithrasi right here. Sagomir, I do want to give a shout out to Sagomir. He's not gonna make my top 10. He's very conditional on where you can use him and stuff, but he is a pretty badass tank. I do love the passive a lot, and I do think that you can do a lot of funky things in the game with this passive, but other than that, I feel like the rest of the kit is just not as great, you know. So just kind of like wanted to mention, I do think that Sagomir is pretty awesome, you know. Same with Lucian, for example, very good for PvP. But other than that, it's much harder to really gain value out of this hero in other content. But he's very solid for PvP, one of the best tanks for PvP actually. Then we have a bit of a debate in here, guys. So moving over to another Season 3 hero, Theodamer, right? Now, Theodamer on his own is not that great, okay? And I'm kind of like needing your help in here, if we put him in our top 10 or no. So I have him. And I have Fenja. So for me, it's a no-brainer top 10. He's amazing. An amazing tank for PvP, for PvE. Absolutely super powerful if they are together. Now, if they are not together, and that's where I need your help, guys, I don't think he's such an amazing tank to basically be placed in my top 10 without, and excluding Malak, for example, or excluding Fathom Down, you know? I don't think on its own is that powerful. Now, he does have defense aura for Arena. He has this passive. The hero cannot obtain a shield, which again is a bit of a oof. For each enemy on the field that targets him, gains newlyweds wow, or however you're reading that word, up to 5 stacks. The hero gains the following additional effects when deployed with Fenja. So that's where he comes in play. He gains invincibility, debuff block, 100% ultimate energy, and you can instantly go to the ultimate skill, which is massive. I love using them together, but separately, I do find it pretty hard to justify him being in top 10. Strikes the enemy 3 times, dealing damage, reducing their ultimate energy, and putting attack down. Now, one thing that I do want to mention about him, he deals a lot of damage, okay? His damage is actually based on defense, which is amazing for a tank. We don't really have many in the game that can actually deal damage based on defense. They're all damage based on attack or nonsense like that, which makes no sense. But he actually deals damage based on defense, and that is very, very nice. And the ultimate grants defense up, damage reduction, deals damage, 700% defense, and 100% chance to inflict taunt for 5 seconds. So the way I'm using him, guys, I have the Rift Hourglass on him. At the front of the line, of course, he's gonna take damage quick. Plus, he will basically charge his ultimate energy very, very fast, and he's gonna taunt the enemies. So I used to run similar strategies in Season 1, Season 2, either if I was running Voresh, either if I was running Taram or Faesa, you know, basically have somebody super fast to do something that can destabilize the enemy team, you know, and he works really well for me in PvP in Season 3. But how I mentioned, he is together with Fenja. Without, I think he's not as powerful to make top 10. But do let me know in the comments down below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts as well. So, he's not in top 10 today, guys, okay? I do kind of like want to hear your thoughts on this tank as well. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list. I want her so freaking bad. She's so damn strong. Quesitia. Defense aura for Arena. This passive is amazing. When taking damage, there's a chance of inflicting recharge speed penalty on the attacker. And she takes 30% less damage from basic attacks. Counters Dauntless pretty well. Now, recharge speed penalty is just such a nasty debuff to have for PvP and PvE, guys. So, very, very nice. And she doesn't even need to do anything. It's just basically the passive. The battle skill will inflict fear, will knock up, and will inflict healing prohibition on an enemy. And it basically drags the farthest enemy towards the hero. So if you have your damage dealer at the back of the map, for example, she's going to drag that damage dealer in front of her and fear it, knock her up, and put healing prohibition too. The ultimate skill, again, has a chance to knock up, will basically reduce the ultimate energy. It does attack the target area 3 times, dealing attack damage. That's the main thing. And she does heal based on 150% of her own attack. But she does put attack penalty as well. She brings so many freaking things to the table, is actually crazy. She is such an amazing, amazing tank, guys. Now, again, in terms of artifacts, you will require something that will give her accuracy. She is pretty good at staying alive, you know, so you can always keep that in mind. But it really depends how you're synergizing your team, what other support you have in the team, you know. If you have a Magan in the team and she's gonna take damage, Magan will boost her ultimate energy with the battle skill in just a few seconds, and my god, they're going to go absolutely crazy. So keep that in mind. It's a solid option. Actually, Necrosis has quite a few amazing tanks in my opinion. I do like Reapcast quite a lot. I am using him a lot on my free-to-play account and on the main account too. So Reapcast, guys, gains healing equal to 50% of the healing the enemies receive. So he's not going to be good on versus an enemy that has no healing at all, because he's not going to get to heal unless you're supporting him, you know? Which, of course, you do need to keep in mind when you are using the tank. The battle skill, AoE, knocks up and stuns the enemies. The ultimate skill launches 3 spirit attacks. Big AoE in here, dealing attack damage, which, by the way, he can deal a bit of damage, but you don't want to build him for attack. He does have a very high base attack. Reduces their ultimate energy. Has a chance to inflict attack penalty, recharge speed penalty, healing prohibition, accuracy penalty, or buff prohibition. So this on its own is massive versus Feymander, Pillar of Trials, PvP, Chief Challenges. You're going to get a lot of value out of this out of this tank as well. And again, you do require accuracy on him, so keep that in mind. He's a very good character to apply defense down, with witches remains, because he has a triple attack, so that makes him great for PvE. For PvP, I would definitely suggest you a different artifact. You know, the Durango Blast Jar, even the Scarab Amulet can be very, very nice on him. Then we have Berengar, guys. He is amazing, actually. Very good for some specific content too, and not just that. He looks badass, right? So just look at the design. He looks so freaking amazing. He has an HP aura for Series of Trials. The passive creates an evil aura around the hero, healing him by 0.4% of the target's max HP every 0.3 seconds, and reduces the damage dealt by enemies within range by 0.25 up to 25%. When being healed, the hero gains extra max HP equal to 100% of the healing, up to the original 50% of the max HP. So he gets tankier. The battle skill AoE casts Staggering Smite on the target, dealing damage with a 100% chance to put fear, then dispels all debuffs from himself. Then the ultimate skill AoE channels and launches Hellfire, puts recharge speed penalty on the enemy, and healing reversal. So healing reversal, basically, when they're going to heal, they will take damage equal to the amount of the healing. 50% of the healing, basically. So that is going to be massive. It's so good against the Grave of Wrath, for example, guys. And for PvP, Feymander, Pillar of Trials, he's an absolute monster. Now, again, he is not the best for Vortex and stuff like this, but he is absolutely amazing. And I just realized I missed one of the best tanks in the game. I just forgot to talk about her, even though I have her on my list. Freaking Ardrat. You are getting her in Season 2 as the guaranteed legendary. My god, I love Ardrat. She is amazing for every content. There is no content in the game where Ardrat cannot deliver. And for whoever got her in Season 2, you guys are well aware of how impactful she was for all of our accounts. So Season 1 players, get ready, save your summons, get ready to rumble, because you need Ardrat. Do not miss the event for anything, okay? Because she's absolutely amazing. So she has a defense aura for all battles, 30%. I love these auras. I can use it everywhere. The passive, listen to this one. After the battle starts, the hero gains a stack of blessing every 5 seconds. Now, this buff is permanent and cannot be dispelled, and will gain up to 10 stacks. Now, when the hero's blessing reaches 10 stacks, it will give this to all of the heroes, guys. So basically, they will get an increased defense buff, which cannot be dispelled after 50 seconds for the entire duration of the fight. So good against bosses, guys. Absolutely insane. For PvP as well. The battle skill heals the ally with the lowest percentage of the HP, grants defense up. When this skill is cast on a target below 50% HP, healing will be increased by 30% and reduces the recharge time for the target's next battle skill by 50%. That is massive. And then you have the ultimate, which goes even crazier, because if you're using a healer like Garius or somebody that can go in with the Gatekeeper staff, you're going to gain a humongous shield, guys, okay? So enhances the hero for 10 seconds, increasing all allies' healing received by 50%. Then, of course, she will deal damage, and when enhanced, each one of the hero's basic attack grants the ally with the lowest current HP a healing and a chance to dispel a debuff from them. So very effective. Like, there's so many teams versus chief challenges, Chaos Shadow bosses, where she's keeping the entire team alive alone. So that was all for legendaries, guys. These 8 legendaries are part of the top 10 best tanks in the game. Now, there are 2 amazing tanks in this game that are absolutely game-changing, and there is no way in hell legendaries beat them. Like, they are better than some legendaries that we just named, guys. They are so amazing. And I do want to start with Frerbart. A massive carry. Dungeons, Vortex, Arena. Not the best for Arena, but he can work in there if you don't have better options. But for all of the PvE content, he is just insane. Defense aura for dungeon battles, 24%. With a passive, he has a chance to basically heal and cleanse a debuff from the ally with the lowest current HP. Then you have the battle skill that generates a nexus of healing and heals your entire team. This is a lot of healing. It might not look like a lot by looking at it, 50% of the defense, but is a lot of healing from here, and he can keep your team alive. Very, very nice in so many different situations. And the ultimate, simple. AoE attack penalty. He doesn't need to do anything fancier than this. He is just so freaking effective in pretty much every little area of this game. Is mind-blowing how impactful he is. And then we do have another tank which is mind-blowing, Garius. So honestly, he's one of the best tanks in the entire game. If you're asking me to kind of like rank them, guys, I feel like Frerbart and Garius, they make top 5 easily. Like the best tanks in the game. Garius provides you with one of the most disgusting heals in the entire game. Dispels all debuffs from this hero. Doesn't matter what he has, as long as it's not a crowd control one. And then he will heal all allies by 600% of his defense. Then on top of it, if you have Ardred in your team, you can generate some insane healing, like 140k healing, guys. And the best artifact for him is the Gatekeeper Staff. It's like his own exclusive artifact. The battle skill will grant hit recovery, a chance to knock up the enemy, and the passive, he will basically stack an increased defense buff every time he takes damage, up to 20 stacks. So he's gonna have so much defense on himself, guys, then when he's going to use that ultimate skill, is just going to be crazy. The amount of healing that you're going to get from there. So this is top 10 best tanks in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Hands down, no questions asked. The only question that I have is, what do you think about Theoderem without Fenja? I don't think he deserves top 10, but I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, guys. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video. If you guys want to get involved, you can download the game by clicking the link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or scan the QR code you see on the screen. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.